What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be putting some bigger injector nozzles on the injectors in my truck. Right now they have a 5x16 VCO. We are going to a 5x18 sack. So we're going to be pulling the injectors out of it. Injectors on these, obviously, like any 12 valve, are super easy. Pretty much self-explanatory right here. Just pull the return lines off, pull the injector lines off, say a 15/16 hold down, big nut that holds the injector down, and then the injector just pulls out. And we're going to take it over to the bench and pop the nozzles off and put the new nozzles on. Here they are. They're DAP nozzles, 5x18 sack. So yeah, I'm going to set you guys up and I'm going to start pulling these injectors out. Okay, so we got them out and we got them all cleaned up, got the copper washers pulled off of them. We're going to stick them in the vise. We have this a rag over the vise. We're going to stick it down in like that and clamp it. You want to make sure that you're not clamping on the return hole. When you're clamping, you can see right there, almost looks like a wrench, like a spot for a wrench or something. You can clamp on there. I know they make tools for this, but I don't have those. Then just take a socket, pop this end off. Well, I'll show you how everything goes. As you can see, we got them all pulled out. What I figured out works really good, because with the VEs it's really hard to get to the back of the pull the injection lines off. You have to pull this brackets and whatnot out of the way. So what I do is I just pull them up, like you see. I stick a screwdriver underneath, kind of hold them up out of the way, and then you can get right down in there. There was a bit of rust in a couple of the holes, so we're gonna have to clean everything out. What we have here is, let me see if I can find it. This brush right here works really good. This is actually made for the 6.0 injector cups, I think it works on the Duramax injectors as well, like for a LB7 injector cup. But this works really good on these. It actually fits really tight in there, so it's almost perfect. So that's what we're gonna do with that. Clean those up, and then here you can see got these all ready to pull apart. I will set you guys up on the stand and then explain. I'll explain one of them, put one together, pull one apart and put one together, and then I'm gonna do all the rest of them and throw them back. Alrighty, so you can see here, make sure the return line isn't being clamped on. So we're gonna stick it down in here like this. Make sure it's seated down in there good, and then tighten it down. Make sure your socket fits tight. You don't want too big of a socket. What you're gonna do? These are pretty tight. Try to turn these. Okay, my vise isn't tight enough, so it's trying to spin in the vise. This vise is actually not that great of a vise. That's why I have problems with it. Okay. There we go. Now has some soot on the end there, so to make sure we don't get any dirt down inside the injector. These, usually they'll have some kind of sealer on the thread, so it can be a little bit tight to get it off of there. Okay, got interrupted there, but we got the nozzle off. You want to make sure you leave all this stuff. Let me pull you off the camera off here so you can see a little bit better. But you can see there, you want to leave that stuff on there. This nozzle is kind of stuck in there, so what we're going to do is get a couple rags and then smack it real hard on the end, try to get it to come out. Okay, so before anyone says this is a bad idea, it might be a bad idea, I don't know, I've done it before and it's worked pretty well. So just make sure you have a nice little stack of rags here, that way it kind of protects the tip, and then just smack it and it'll push it right out. So there's the nozzle, there's the needle. So we're going to clean up this little cup piece on the end, and then we're going to put the new nozzle back on here. Okay, so here's our new nozzle here. What you're going to want to do, let me see if I can get this thing to focus. Come on. Well, you can kind of see there, the bottom hole there is your feed. What you're going to want to do is take what you have is some brake clean with a straw on it, and just spray it down in there, and then you can see here, let me restart this so I can get. Okay, so what you're going to do, you can see the needle moves in and out. What you're going to do is spray some brake clean down in that hole, and then use an air blower, this is on your new nozzle, and then just kind of move it in and out, make sure it's all clean, everything's all clean and it moves freely in there. Blow it off, because you know they put some oil on it when they're like in the packaging, just so they don't rust, and that oil can make it stick, and you might end up having a stuck injector nozzle. So that works for that. So we're gonna put this on and throw the rest of them together and put. Alrighty, when you put it on here, you can see there's 3 holes in the bottom. 2 of those are line-up holes and 1 is a feed hole. Make sure that's lined up properly, because if it's not, you will basically have 1 injector hole that does not, or 1 injector that is not going to be firing. And then what we're going to do is we have everything here. Well, let's actually pull this off real quick again. We're just going to want to clean this up real quick. Just make sure there's no dirt and debris. And then also, if you have an issue with injectors leaking, you may need to use some the gasket shellac. So usually sell it out of O'Reilly's or Napa has it. Works good. Just put a little bit on the threads. Make sure you do not get any in the nozzle. If you do, you basically need a new nozzle, because it will seize everything up. I've never had an issue with injectors leaking. I have on Steve's truck. They had some issues with it. I know some other guys have had issues with it, and we used that and it worked good. So we're going to torque this down. I believe these are 45 foot-pounds. I'm going to look it up just to make sure. If it's not, I will put it up on the screen here, right exactly what the correct torque spec is. Okay, let's start this thing up. Actually, probably going to take a little bit to start it.
Try it again.
truck. I got the truck out of the shop. It was actually the next day. Didn't video the rest of it. Steve came up and helped me put everything back together. Everything is very self-explanatory. There's not, I mean, you just basically the opposite of how you take it apart. So we're gonna take it out. We're gonna take it for a drive. I'm videoing on my phone just because the camera that I have does not pick up audio very well, especially like in the cab of the truck and whatnot. It's just really, really bad. So if it looks like I'm not looking at the camera, it's because I'm using my phone, and my screen is cracked and weird. So yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna do a little pull here. If I just hit my lockup switch, it'll automatically lock it as soon as I hit second gear. So just one of the things with having an auto valve body. Got my back window open, so maybe we can get a little bit better. But we're gonna do a small pull here. Okay guys, so I know I'm kind of bouncing between my phone camera and my other camera, but phone camera picks up like the noise in the truck a lot better. It may sound a little weirder, but one thing I did forget on the injectors, putting them back in, the hold down nut that holds the injector down in the head is the spec is 44 foot-pounds. I usually just torque them a little bit more like 50 foot-pounds. So if you're having a little bit of a problem with them leaking or something, maybe just put them to 50 foot-pounds or whatnot. If that doesn't help, then obviously you're gonna have to pull the injector back apart and put the sealer on the threads. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe if you're new here, and we will see you guys next time.